Hello friends, welcome to this episode of Straight from the Heart, a candid and heartfelt conversation with leaders and masters who epitomize authenticity and have impacted the world positively. My name is Himanshu Saxena. I'm a thinker, writer, speaker and coach. I founded Central Strategic Mindset to groom strategic minds who can deliver bold business impact. Our guest today is a best-selling author, number one leadership coach, and most respected business leaders. Allow me to introduce one and only Marshall Goldsmith.
Hello. Great
Thank you,
to see
Marshall.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Welcome
inviting
to
me.
Mumbai.
Thank you.
Marshall, you have done so much in life. You have written 35 books, billions of following, number of articles, coached world's best leaders, been a great teacher. What is the unfinished agenda hereafter?
Oh, I have many things left to do. Let's see, right now, my newest book, How Women Rise with Sally Higgins, will be out in 2 months.
Okay.
That's very important to me. I'm going to do my own book, Stakeholder-Centered Leadership. That should be out soon. Then my next big book would be called Leading Your Own Life. That should be out in 2019. So I have 3 books I'm working on right now, big ones. Then I'm really excited about our project, which you're part of, the 100 Coaches, where I'm adopting people, teach them all they know for free. They get old, they pay it forward. It's been a wonderful, wonderful project. Fantastic people. So I'm very honored to have you be a member of this good club.
I really like the phrase adopting people to pay it forward. That's a very nice and humble way of putting things forward. Let me start at where this entire journey began.
For me, I guess my professional journey began when I met Dr. Paul Hersey.
Yeah.
I got a PhD from UCLA. I met Dr. Hersey. He was the inventor of situational leadership with Ken Blanchard. He was kind enough to let me follow him around to learn to do what he did. One day he got double booked and asked me, "Can you do what I do?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "I need help." I said, "I don't know." He said, "I'll pay $1,000 for a day." I was making $15,000 for a year. I said, "I'll try." I did a program for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. They were very angry when I showed up. I came in first place of all the speakers. They were very happy. Paul said, "Do you want to do it again?" Here I am.
So that's the conversation where he asked you to represent in a speaking engagement.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you face and feel when you were suddenly asked to go, and how did that turn that life for you?
I think I was in many ways saved by my own ignorance. One, I was bald, so I looked a lot older than I was, which helped me because I was very, very young. And 2, I really think I was too ignorant to realize how important these people were. These people managed billions of dollars. And I love what I do. And I cannot say that's hard work. I was 28 years old with no experience and very little preparation. I just have a gift for that. The speaking part.
Yeah.
That's more of a gift.
I often heard you quote Peter Drucker's quote that your mission statement should fit in on the T-shirt. And I've heard you say that life is good. So how did you craft your mission and went on to manifest it?
Well, my actual mission is helping successful leaders achieve positive, lasting change in behavior. That's my mission.
So how did that get carved out?
It's interesting. I was largely influenced by Alan Mulally. Alan, the CEO of the Year in the United States, probably the best CEO of this century. Just an amazing man. And Alan, I had the privilege of working with him as his coach when he was at Boeing, and he taught me a great lesson. He said, work with great people. And I don't know if you remember, but coaching years ago was really working with people who had problems or fixing things.
Yeah.
And I really worked with him to change that perception of coaching from fixing things to really helping great people get better. If you do a Google search in quotes, helping successful people, the first 500 hits, 450 are me. The rest of the world is 50. So I'm reasonably dominant in that field.
So you're literally the pioneer of this entire coaching practice in that era.
Especially that type of coaching. There was none. So I invented it in essence.
A couple of mentors which I often heard you quote, Paul Hersey, Warren Bennis, Peter Drucker, your Buddhist mentor. What is that one thing that you borrowed from each of these people?
Peter Drucker, I learned many things. One thing I learned that's really useful in my, I'll mention two.
Yeah.
One is he said that we spend a lot of time helping leaders learn what to do. We don't spend enough time helping leaders learn what to stop. And that led to my book, What Got You Here, What Got You There.
Yes.
He also said the leader of the past knew how to tell, the leader of the future knows how to ask, which really is a whole big center point of the feedback and feed-forward process that I'm a pioneer of. That came also indirectly and directly from his wonderful teachings. So those are two different things. The other thing he taught me is we're here to make a positive difference, not to prove we're smart. Whoever has the power to make the decision makes it. If you need to influence them, they're the customer. I learned so many basic lessons that are wisdom that seems obvious but is not commonly shared.
You know, each of the words that you choose, they've been very carefully crafted. They're like distillate. And that distillate has come from long reflection, introspection. And that makes it very compelling to hear and possibly easy to execute. And I'm just wondering, from a hippie in 1970s, you made lots of experiments with life, philosophy, learnings, finally settling down to Buddhism.
Right.
How did you meander across to finally settle down to
Well,
Buddhism?
I've been a Buddhist for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I studied Buddhism when I was young, in college, even before I was 20. And the reason, there are many schools of Buddhism to start with. So when someone says they're a Buddhist, it doesn't tell you very much. Buddhists said only do what I teach if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, just don't do it. Given that, there are many interpretations of Buddhism, so I don't want to make any value judgment on anyone else. My school of Buddhism is not a religious school, it's a philosophical school. Buddha was rich. His father was a king, he was brought up in a castle. He was able to sneak out 3 times from the bubble, and he learned 3 things. You get old, you get sick, and you die. All this money, you still get old, you get sick, and you die. Then he learned, I can't be happy with more. He tried to be happy with less and find peace with less by renunciation. That didn't work either. And finally, Buddha learned, I can't be happy with more. I can't be happy with less. I can only be happy with one thing, what I have. There's only one time I can be happy, and that's now. There's only one place I can be happy, that's here. To me, that's the essence of Buddhism.
You know, one of the interesting perspectives from Eastern world, and this gentleman, his name is Parthasarathi, he says the people in West are more action-oriented, so they are more prosperous. People in East are more peace-oriented, they have less of prosperity. So one side of the world has prosperity, other side has the so-called peace, but not prosperity. And how do you grapple the paradox? And he said that the best way to do is to find peace in action. And from your life and your journey, I see that happening very effectively, that finding peace in action, and your action is coaching, teaching, and inspiring people.
Yeah, I think 2 things, well, 5 things that matter in life. Health is very important.
Health.
Wealth is not, it's sort of important to the middle class level, but once you get beyond a comfortable lifestyle, it doesn't matter that much. Relationships are very important with people you love, but assuming you have at least a comfortable level of wealth, you're healthy, and you have a great relationship with people you love, all that matters is happiness and meaning. Am I doing what makes me happy? And by happiness, I mean the process of what you're doing. You love the process. And am I doing what is meaningful for me? And again, no one can define happiness for you but you. No one can define meaning for you but you. So you need to achieve both simultaneously. Just striving for amusement is, at the end of the day, empty. On the other hand, trying to find meaning without joy, you're a victim or a martyr. So you really need both happiness and meaning.
And if you draw a circle and divide into 4 quadrants, health, relationship, wealth, and knowledge, if you ignore one, the other 3 will pay for it. That's how the life works. So finding balance is key. So from major in mathematics to landing in coaching, what are those tipping points where you realize, this is not my field and I would explore somewhere here?
Yeah, I basically burned out on mathematics. I was very good at it as a young man. I got very high scores on all the math tests, and I had 9 courses of math past calculus, and then really got interested in the people side, even in undergraduate school. And I really preferred the humanities classes more than the math classes. So I got interested in people's sides. I started studying religion, philosophy, life. Um, for some reason, went on to get an MBA, and then from there, a PhD in organizational behavior. It was a very different time. That was back in the time when they had the encounter groups, and they had Warren Bennis, and a lot of. I was very blessed to be able to work with many of the iconic figures of teachers of that
Of
era.
that era.
Yeah, a lot of them were there in Los Angeles when I was there, and so I got to meet some very deep people, very iconic people, and it was really more a focus on thinking and what's life and who am I.
You know, like you said, you're lucky to have met and blessed by these people. I learned this thing that two things change the course of life: the books that you read and the people that you meet.
Right.
For me, I'm blessed to have you. And while you talked about the people, was there any book, something which kind of created or activated your quest?
Yeah, I liked, well, my favorite author is Thich Nhat Hanh,
Yeah.
Vietnamese Buddhist monk. And my
Yes.
favorite book of his is Old Path, White Clouds, which I just love. Love that book. And I also like the books of Hermann Hesse, Siddhartha, Steppenwolf, books of that type, more religious, philosophical books, studying about, what is life. I've probably read 400 books on Buddhism.
That's a lot of insight.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you use some of these learnings into your coaching when you work with the successful leaders?
My coaching is very heavily influenced by Buddhism. One of the things I teach is called Feed Forward.
Feed forward.
In Feed Forward, you ask for input, you listen, you thank people, you don't judge and critique. Buddha said, only use what I teach if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay. Just don't do it. Well, in Feed Forward, you learn to ask for input and you treat it like a gift. You thank people. You don't promise to do everything. You promise to listen and do what you can. That's such a freeing idea. And it gets rid of all this critiquing and judging and arguing, which amounts to nothing anyway. And really, it's been an incredible concept. It's popular around the world. There's no country in the world that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I do this Feed Forward exercise, and I just was in Moscow recently. And in the audience, we had 19,000 people.
That's a huge number.
And only 20% spoke English. We did the Feed Forward exercise. They loved it. They loved it.
How did you break the language barrier to pass on?
They had simultaneous translation.
Okay. What was MG as a kid, as an adult, and as a seasoned coach?
As a kid, I was reasonably rebellious. I was actually kicked out of church, kicked out of the bowling league, first in my class to be arrested at 14. So I wasn't exactly a little role model kid. I was pretty much negative, a negative attitude toward the society I was around, and I liked it. I was happy, but I was very much anti-authority as a kid. And then I went to college. I went through the hippie era. Went to UCLA, got a PhD, which is a very different experience today. I mean, it would be nothing like getting a PhD today. It's like being in a completely different world. And then, I became a college professor for a little bit. I was happy. And then I met Dr. Hersey, and I feel just very blessed to have been around such wonderful teachers. Again, Peter Drucker, Paul Hersey, Warren Bennis, Bob Tannenbaum, just wonderful, brilliant people. And then my coaching clients who have taught me so much, Francis Hesselbein, Alan Mullally, Dr. Jim Kim, just very deep people that in theory I'm supposed to be coaching them, but in practice I've learned far more from them than they've learned from me.
Yeah, it always happens because when you work with so many clients as learners, the coach tends to draw a lot more and he's richer in his wellspring. And as a seasoned coach, this probable question, who am I? How this question has evolved for you over the years?
I've spent a great deal of my life dealing with that question. Who am I? I've always found it puzzling that so few people deal with that at all. Most people spend more time talking about sports teams than they talk about life. It's amazing to me the lack of existential interest that people have. I mean, here we are stumbling around life, and I always found it puzzling that people don't spend any time on the topic of who am I, where are we, and what's going on here. And they spend an inordinate amount of time talking about the baseball team or the weather or other things, but not that.
Yeah, they find it very esoteric, abstract, but constantly asking this question is rooted in the profound wisdom. It's not one day. When you consistently ask this question, that's where the clarity emerges. What has been your best coaching and worst coaching experience?
I'm not sure I've had any particularly bad experiences because to me, I mean, I failed before as a coach, and all my failures have been from one cause, my own ego. If I want to see the source of any problems I've had in coaching, I never had to look very far. I just look in a mirror. Here's the problem. Good experiences have been when I didn't get lost in myself, and I realized that the coaching process is not about me. It's about the wonderful people you work with, and be proud of them, and realize that my friend Alan Mullally taught me, if you have great clients, you'll always win. You have bad clients, you'll never win.
Yeah.
And so really, the whole essence of the big successful projects, the people I worked with that are just mega successful and got better and everything else, had much more to do with them than it did with me. And I think if I reflect on it, I never thought about it this way. When I failed, it had much more to do with me than it did with them.
That's a nice way of putting things in perspective. You talked about ego. How did you learn to deal with it? Because a lot of success is there, and with success, the ego creeps in. What is your personal mechanism of dealing with which we can share with others?
I'm not sure I'm particularly effective at dealing with it now. So, I fail all the time. I manage to screw something up ego-related pretty much every day. So I'm reasonably aware of it. I'm not sure I'm particularly effective at dealing with it. I'm human like everybody else.
If you have an opportunity to travel back in time, where would you like to be?
Talk to Buddha.
Back to Buddha.
Back to Buddha.
And why would that be?
To learn.
More. So I see a very strong quest for learning, which is still keeping you going.
To me, Buddha, an amazing story. You have to realize this was 2,600 years ago. They didn't have written word.
Yeah.
The first 500 years of Buddhism were passed through oral transmission. So here's a guy 2,600 years ago who says something with no writing, no technology, different language, different time, different culture, different everything. He said something so profound. It traveled through time 2,600 years, through language, culture, everything.
Every barrier.
And talked to me. That's pretty deep.
I'm often curious by this color of your shirt and life is good. What is the genesis of these two preferences?
Well, the color of my shirt is more accidental than anything else. The New Yorker magazine wrote the story of my life. Very interesting existential experience, by the way, to have the New Yorker magazine write the story of my life. Okay. And I'll just take a diversion.
Sure.
Peter Drucker always taught me to ask, who's the customer? So I thought, in this New Yorker magazine, who's the customer? First, I thought the customer was my clients. And then I said, nah, I want this story to be written for my unborn great-grandchildren. So after I die, they'll know who I was. So I thought, well, who should you act like? You should act like yourself, because if I acted like another person or a phony, it wouldn't be a story about me. It would be a story about this fictitious person. So I decided to act like myself. I told my wife we'd probably lose $150,000 or so because I'd annoy people. And I'm going to act like me. Well, it turned out in hindsight, that was the best thing I could have done. The woman who's writing the story has an IQ of 180, and she's, she does this for a living. I wasn't going to fool her anyway. And if I tried to act like a phony, she probably would have crucified me. It turned out the story was totally positive and changed my life. In the story, she randomly said that I always wore a green T-shirt. Now, I don't think I did always wear a green T-shirt, but she said I did. Well, okay, fine. Then people start expecting me to wear a green T-shirt. Fine with me. I don't like to pick out my clothes anyway. It doesn't make any difference to me. So I'm happy to wear a green T-shirt every day.
It's like
my clothing for the last 6, 8 days is always every day
same,
green
man.
T-shirt, same clothes.
It doesn't matter if it's washed or not washed.
No, I do wash it. No. You have a funny story. I was 3 women from the Bell South Corporation came to my home, and they don't know I'm behind them. So they're walking around my home, and this one woman looks at another woman, and they look into my closet, and there are 15 pair of khaki pants. And one woman looked at the other woman and said, "Thank God. I thought he only owned 1 pair of pants." So I have many green shirts and many khaki pants.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, if you were to give 19-year-old Marshall one advice, what would that be?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I wouldn't change anything. See, again, I have a degree in math. It's not that everything I did was perfect. I made many, many mistakes. The odds on me, I was brought up very poor. We didn't have indoor plumbing in my school the first 4 years. We had an outhouse. I was brought up in a very primitive environment, very low income, low education environment. The odds on me being where I am from there are almost zero. And anything I would have changed in my life, the odds on it making things better, slim. The odds on it making things worse, high. I wouldn't change anything. And it's not that I didn't do anything wrong. I wouldn't change anything because just statistically the odds on things working out better because the change would be remote.
Probably those are the experiences that contributed to your journey and growth up to this point.
That's right. That's right. So when you change something, even though what you did may have been stupid, that could have been an important learning point for you in life.
Yeah. And that was the only way that learning was designed to come. So why take that away?
Yeah.
You know, you do a lot of work with women, thinking, upliftment, choices. And your new book is also about how women rise.
Yeah, the new book.
Yeah. And people often say that Marshall is a man who makes women leaders cry. Why do you make them cry?
I don't know what people say, but that was written up in the Times of London. A woman wrote a wonderful article.
Telegraph UK quoted that.
It was a very amazing article. The woman needs to realize this is the Times, this is London. Very cynical. So the article begins with a whole just rip of me. That this guy, who is this guy? Some man talking about women's issues, Buddhism, it's just very, ugh. The woman just found the whole thing to be just, classic, stereotypical California American guy. Just nonsense. And then she wrote, I closed my eyes, and I opened my eyes, and I was crying. And then she said, I looked around the room, and all these women were crying. And I thought, maybe this is not so ridiculous after all. It took a lot of courage for her to write that.
Yeah.
She's a Brit. For a Brit to talk about that takes a lot of courage. They don't like to cry. They don't cry publicly. They're very stoic people.
It's a cultural issue.
Very cultural, big issue. And so it was an interesting story. In my women's program, I start by saying we're going to have 4 rules. Rule number 1 is you can't try to learn something. Put away those pencils. Rule 2, you can't try to become more productive. Rule 3, you cannot think about becoming a better person. Rule 4, you cannot even consider helping others. I want you to spend 10 minutes and focus on your own happiness and self-acceptance, just 10 minutes. We're here in India. I did this in a large group of women in India. 2 women just broke down. They just broke down. They didn't start crying. They just lost it. Nobody ever gave them 10 minutes. So it's, women tend to be too hard on themselves. The one coaching I have with women far more than men is don't be too hard on yourself.
I think they put them in the last priority. After taking care of everything, then they bring them at the last. And sometimes it's okay to break down before you achieve a breakthrough.
Mostly my women's classes are only women there.
Yeah. Moving forward, let's imagine a situation that you are in a new birth, new life. What would you like to do?
Do what I'm doing now.
You want to continue doing that?
I like what I'm doing.
Actually, it's great really learning, interacting, so many vistas of your life. It's truly amazing. And what I'm intrigued that how do you take out time from your life to do so much? So what are your practices, beliefs, behaviors that keep you going?
Well, the first thing is if you love what you do, you don't feel like you work.
Okay.
So I never feel like I'm working because I don't have to work, number one. And number two, I love what I do. So I don't know, a large part of my work is volunteer work. I work just as hard for free as I do for pay. Doesn't matter. It's all the same.
You know, this question is about to get a view or a glimpse about your rituals and practices in a day, because discipline is key. So I'm just trying to get a view into your rituals and disciplines that keep you effective.
Well, one thing I do is called the daily question process. I have
Okay.
a woman call me on the phone every day. Every day she has me read questions I wrote and provide answers I wrote every day, which is very, very helpful. Someone asked me, why do you do this? Why do you have a woman call you on the phone every day? Don't you know the theory about how to change behavior? I wrote the theory about how to change behavior. That's why I have paid the woman to call me every day. It's so hard. It's not easy for me. So I have basic questions, simple things. How many times I try to prove I was right when it wasn't worth it? How many angry or destructive comments did I make about people? I say or do something nice to my wife, son, daughter, grandchildren, daughter-in-law, or son-in-law. Just basic questions of life. How many steps did I take? Push-ups, sit-ups, every day. And I screw up something every day.
And how do you renew your beliefs, perspectives? How do you learn? So while you teach very effectively, you coach people, how do you learn?
So I'm always trying to learn. Yeah.
What's that process and mechanism?
I don't know. It's amazing. I don't understand it totally myself. I look at my bio and I don't really understand how did I do those things. I'm not sure. How did I get 37 books done? I mean, I don't know. I have no problem with coming up with ideas, though. So right now, for some reason, I could probably write 5 or 6 books or come up with the ideas for 5 or 6 books. I'm always thinking of ideas, and
And do you write one book at a time, or you work on many books together?
No, I'm working on multiple books.
Multiple books.
Multiple ideas at various stages.
You know, this entire project of MG100,
Yes.
what was the genesis? And how this idea came that I could do something like that, which has led to huge momentum?
Well, it started with a program called Design the Life You Love.
Which is a book by Aisha Bursell.
Aisha Bursell, yeah, wonderful woman. And who are your heroes? Well, my heroes are many people we've talked about: Alan Mulally, Francis Hesselbein, Jim Kim, Peter Drucker, Warren Bennis, Paul Hersey, all these great teachers. And they were very generous people, and they were great teachers. So she said, Buddha, she said, why don't you be more like them? I thought, okay, I'm going to adopt 15 people, teach them everything I know for free, and when they get old, they do the same thing. I made a little 30-second selfie video and put it on LinkedIn. All it said is, my name is Marshall Goldsmith. I got ranked #1 leadership thinker, #1 coach, #1 book. I'm getting old. I'd like to adopt 15 people, teach them everything I know for free, and when you get old, you do the same thing. If you're interested, let me know. That was the whole tape. Most widely viewed tape in the history of LinkedIn. Currently, we have 16,000 applicants for this process, and you've seen the names.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing people. I said CEO Ford and the President of World Bank and the CEO of Best Buy and the Retail CEO of the Year and top coaches and just on and on. Just an amazing list of people. There is one good thing, though, about the process. I'm glad I did it when I did. You know why? I don't think I'd make the list if I applied today.
No, I think you're being too humble. You will make it anyways. And I learned that you're also considering one exclusively for MGIndia.
I am. The 100 Coaches India. Because I have 2,500 applicants just from India.
Yeah.
And I love working in India, so I'd like to do one just in India. I think it's going to be great fun. We need to get a media partner, and I think we'll probably have thousands of applicants and get some fantastic people.
Yeah, I wish you good luck for that project.
Well, you're going to be helping us.
Of course, I'll be part of that.
Yes.
Moving to this last round of this straight from heart conversation is going to be a bit of rapid fire round. So rapid fire round is I'm going to ask one word on some of the things which I'll share with you,
Sure.
whatever comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So here are a couple of statements which I'm going to talk about, and you have to say one word.
Okay.
So what is that one word which comes to your mind about life?
Good.
Success. Success.
2 words, happiness and meaning.
Failure. Failure.
Learn.
Pain.
Avoid.
Ego.
Let go.
Fun.
Life.
Love.
Life.
Romance.
Love.
Teaching.
Love.
Teacher.
Guru.
Other day you spoke a lot about everyone is a teacher first. And I'm curious to know what is your definition of teacher?
Teacher would be someone who helps people learn.
In a manner which kind of very exciting for that person, whether many teachers could be pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing your perspective on this rapid fire round. And I must truly admit that there are very few people that I have come across in my life who have truly inspired others, who have kind of broken their glass ceiling for them to think and do something impactful, who have been a constant source of light and a beacon, and you truly have been one for me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this conversation. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Can I ask you questions?
Yes, please, Marshall.
You are now part of our wonderful MG100 group, amazing group. What are some of your reflections on this exercise?
I think this entire exercise is very thoughtful. It's born out of a great idea of giving. Life has given a lot to me. How can I find a way to pay it forward? And this entire idea of creating evangelists who can take your legacy behind is really beautiful. So hats off to the trigger which made you think, craft, come up with that, and actually make it happen.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah. And the league of people that you have chosen, hats off to you. Because they are not only people who have done, they're also nice people.
They're amazing, nice people, yeah. Yeah, that I have to say has been my biggest positive surprise. Well, I've had several surprises. One big positive surprise is how nice the people are. Now, I didn't know a lot of these people. I knew they were smart because I can read their bios.
Yeah.
They're all smart. But there are many smart people that aren't that nice. And these people are nice. Very, very nice people. Amazingly nice people. And so that's been a very, very positive surprise. Let me give you my biggest surprise on this project.
Yes.
The idea behind this project is me giving to others. The real winner from this project is me. I've gotten so much out of this myself. The irony is I've been the big winner on this project. And you, the best thing I can give you on this project is one thing. Then one day you do it.
Of course.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And the real win for you will be that. Because it feels so nice. Such a positive thing.
Yeah. In giving is receiving. When you give so much, it comes in abundance.
Yeah.
And that's so pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did I answer your question?
Sure.
Thank you, Marshall. It's a great pleasure having you for this very straight from heart conversation. I'm truly delighted to be here, work with you, and carry your mission forward. Thank you.
So much.